Hello, welcome to Imperial Forge Cosplay. Today, I will be showing you how I made this mirror vest. I know in my last video I said I was going to make some suits of armor, but unfortunately my shipment of filament has not yet arrived. So I've decided to do something else instead while I wait, and hopefully I'll get those videos posted pretty soon. I have a few more videos ready to post in case I am ever late with the armor, so thank you for your patience. Getting into the actual build, this cabinet was a cabinet from the 80s that was taken out of my bathroom during a remodel. I've been wanting to do this project for a while, but I could never find the mirrors, so I saw this as a perfect opportunity to jump right in. After I took the shelf portion out, I had to take the actual mirrors out. This process involved taking out the little bumper things that were on the edges of each of the mirrors. This wasn't especially difficult, but a few of the screws are stripped and I just had to tear them out with some muscles. This part was probably the trickiest part. Because of the adhesive holding the mirrors to the wood, I decided to grab a sword. The sword did not work, and I would not recommend for future use. I decided to go bare hands and just try and rip it apart. This also did not go as well as I'd hoped, and the mirror ended up breaking. I decided that the pieces were still usable, and continued to work on the next one. I noticed on the edge pieces that the board came up pretty easily, unlike the middle piece, in which I really had to work for it. On this specific piece, I discovered that the best way to go about it was actually to take a scraper for like a painting job or like pulling your prints off of a 3D print bed. This worked really well and the mirror just popped right off. At this point of the build, I did a lot of experimenting. I didn't know really how I was going to cut the pieces, or how I was going to put them on, or in what order I was going to put them on. So I thought the best way to start was to just make a pattern. And by doing this, I took the vest that I was going to put all of the pieces on, laid it out flat, and started tracing the pattern with a piece of paper and some tape that I laid out. This ended up working really well, but as you'll see later, I ended up scrapping this idea for a better one that I had. So while planning for this project, I saw a video of a person making these very geometric shapes when making their mirror suit, and I decided to try something similar to this. So on my pattern, I drew a bunch of geometric shapes, which ended up being a waste of time, but I did it anyway. I cut a section of the geometric shapes off of the pattern that I made to try and see if it would fit on my piece of broken mirror. I glued it down to the mirror to try and keep it secure because my first idea was to cut all the pieces out with a Dremel. This idea kinda worked, as you'll see. I had a vacuum to suck all of the excess material off, but it ended up making a mess and it would have taken too long, and I didn't have the patience to do that. So I moved on to a different strategy, like I mentioned earlier. It was about at this point where I decided the Dremel wasn't going to work. So I took out a hammer and started smashing the pieces. The pieces that were already Dremeled came apart right at the cracks, which I had wanted, but some of them didn't work as planned. So I just started banging around to see what mirror chunks would fall off, and I ended up peeling the paper off of the top. I then took a metal rod and started banging in random places to see what would break and just experimenting around with this. I would not recommend doing this. If you have a more suitable way to do such a thing, please do. I had so many glass shards in my hand, it was ridiculous. It was at this point that I decided I needed to take a break, so my brother challenged me to a game of Smash. I, of course, was King DDD, as any logical person should be, and of course, I won. If you want to watch the full fight, too bad, because I have no idea where that footage went. Here's the last shots of the game, and of course, I'm too good. Thank you for watching this beautiful penguin man destroy the heck out of a Pokemon. Back to the build. I unfortunately missed the footage in which I placed all of these pieces on the vest, but essentially what I did is I took the pieces one by one, sanded down the edges, cleaned the piece off with some window cleaner, and glued it down with some E6000. E6000 is like the best glue ever for cosplaying and such, and I would 100% recommend it for everything. The only downside to it is it sometimes dries pretty slow, so just account for that. With these final touches, the vest was complete. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It helps me out a lot. These photos are courtesy of Kaylin. Thank you so much. And of course, like a good person, I got rid of the excess material.